that's why it's a number game. That's why, especially in early stage, that's why we've invested in 120 companies to identify 4 unicorns. I believe it would be more than 4. It's still early. It takes time
Sure.
to grow them. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope it will be more. But we have a very particular DVC portfolio founder in mind when we are investing. I would say they are.
I'm Felicia Shakiba, and this is Leaderbook AI, where we solve a business challenge in every episode. How should venture firms automate their processes with AI? And what do they do with those processes to find and select an AI unicorn? Today, we have Marina Davidova, managing partner at Silicon Valley's DVC venture capital firm. Marina, let's start at the beginning. Take me back 10 years when you first started investing in AI and it still felt like a moonshot. What made you believe early?
Let's start even earlier than 10 years ago, because I was born in Russia. It was the Soviet Union then. And I think growing up in a country that underwent massive systematic changes taught us to recognize patterns and inflection points way before the mainstream does. So back then, we already worked in venture capital, and 2012, AlexNet came out. That was a neural network created by Alex Krevsky and Ilya Sutskever that worked with images, and it was the first use cases in different fields. And for us, it was like, okay, it's something interesting. We don't know would it be immediate business use cases, but it was very interesting. Then a couple of years later, we've noticed some implementations of computer vision in advertisement in different fields, but still it was very narrow niche. So 10 years ago, it was, I believe, 1.5 billion venture capital invested in AI, very, very small niche compared to the overall venture capital. But we were very curious. We loved the industry ourselves. What made us believe early, it wasn't just like, I know, technology itself. It wasn't demos. It wasn't hype. So I think we didn't bet on just technology itself. Our first job when we were still college students and Cisco for the industry, where in the beginning of internet era was this essential infrastructure. So AI for us was also this inevitable infrastructure for the new, same as electricity in the beginning of 20th century. So we saw how quickly foundational shifts rewrite economies, and we were super curious to use it ourselves. We were super curious to see how use cases are emerging, and we just love to work in the field.
And just curious about what was it that made you kind of lean in? What was like the first moment, or if there was, if there's a story behind it all, that you thought of it as something that was unique and different from the rest of the technology?
To be honest, the story was very simple and not that interesting. We just moved to the Silicon Valley. And as I mentioned, we moved from Russia, where the venture capital market is very, very different. I think that the market there is mostly about like investors giving terms to founders. Moving here, we realize that every other neighbor is also investor, and we have to compete. And it's not enough to have money and invest in certain companies. You have to bring value beyond that. And I remember there was our daughter at that time, she was 5 years old. And There was some event at school, and all parents were introducing themselves. And like it was like, I'm an investor, I'm an investor, I'm an investor. So you have to distinguish yourself somehow. And so we sat with my husband Nick and tried to understand what is it that we are interested about, what we want to focus the next 10 years, because usually investors thinking of these 10 years periods, timelines, what we want to focus on, what we want to deepen our expertise. And since there was like early AI implementations and we are very fascinated about that, we decided to focus on that. Not just because like we were super into the field. It's just because like we realize that we have to bring value beyond money and we have to distinguish ourselves among others.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was what founders are looking for, right? I mean, anybody could throw money on the table, but at the end of the day, I think founders really want to be supported. It's a lonely journey. And I know you know that. And I even as a founder of Leaderbook AI, it is very tough. And having some sense of direction somewhere that we can go to get feedback and to kind of even just be supported for those good decisions that we do make, those go a long way. And so I think that's really critical that you realize that, and that makes you sets you apart, which leads me to my next question, because my next question is really about how you make your selections around identifying unicorns. So you have backed 4 unicorns, is it?
From the latest fund, from the DVC fund, in 4 years, we already have 4 unicorns. That's correct. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So I have a lot of questions, but maybe we can start with like, what are those unicorns? What are those companies that became unicorns? Let's first call them out here. And then maybe we can start with, what did you see early on in those founders, and maybe walk us through that process?
So among the unicorns, we have Proxy, Hicksfield, Etchet AI, and the fourth one we cannot announce until the next week. So it's still on a stealth mode, but it will be announced on March 10th. So probably when the podcast will be released, we can also share.
Yes, yes, it will be released. How exciting. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and to be backed unicorn founders before with our previous ventures, but I think this is a new wave of unicorn founders, which is very exciting for us to notice and to witness firsthand. And it's not a very easy question to answer, to be honest, because if it would be so easy, we would be investing only in unicorns.
Right.
I remember there is a popular medieval tapestry where people, I think it was Scottish tapestry, where people are trying to find unicorn, and they were like trying to hunt the unicorn, and it was they're still looking at them and the unicorns there, and it's not easy. That's why it's a number game. That's why, especially on early stage. That's why we've invested in 120 companies to identify 4 unicorns. I believe it would be more than 4. It's still early. It takes time
Sure.
to grow them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hope it will be more. But we have a very particular DVC portfolio founder in mind when we are investing. Um, I would say they already been to startup war before, so we invest only in repeat founders. The reason why is because they have to be very quick and they have to navigate this constantly changing environment very quickly. Repeat founders, most of them, they have this experience. They try in a lot of hypotheses. They are moving fast. They are not afraid of failures, and they like went through exits, shutdowns, I don't know, co-founder breakups, and they lived through all of that, and they decided to go back to the front line And instead of becoming cynical, they became sharper. They don't romanticize startup world, or they don't romanticize their wins or failures. They just accept them and they look into the reality and they continue building.
Resilience.
Yeah. And another thing which is very important for us, it's that especially in AI, founders should have a very engineer soul. It's not about being very. It's not about only being like tech savvy. It's about the pattern. It's about the willingness to take things apart and build it better together again. So it's just like having this engineering mindset, always curious how it is built, how we can make it better, how to use new technology to build better processes. And I think the third thing, which is also important, is that they're looking long term. So when we are asked them about like what's next, what are your next milestone, they almost never talking about like next round valuation. They're talking about like how their new product, new technology will change the industry. So they understand this is a long term game, and they're committed to it in spite of all the battle scars they had before.
That's really, I think, relatable to a lot of founders, but also I think it's unique when speaking to someone that has never founded a company before. And I've seen both. I've seen founders who have done it over and over again, and they almost know how to, do it faster, right, the next time. Much more further that they go, they're like, I've done this before. I know how to do this now. I spent, 5 months doing it wrong, or however many months doing it wrong. And, I think that that is really special about a founder, of understanding what that looks like, of being able to, even break your code and start from scratch. Right. And then I've seen founders who, they have the passion, they have the ambition, the commitment, the talent, even the idea, even, but have no idea how fast to move and what that means or looks like. And I think there's like a mindset shift, and you can feel free to disagree with me, but more of a design thinking approach to solving the problem, how we add value to clients and or customers, and really looking at how to best solve a very specific problem. And maybe that is at a certain stage, like seed stage. But I guess my question to you is, have you seen that type of mindset evolve, or is it consistent as the company scales? What is your has been your experience?
I think just one correction from what we observe is that like people, repeat founders, they don't know, they accept that they don't know how to build actually. So they tried, it didn't work, and it doesn't matter because it doesn't mean that they know how to build right now. They just accept that they have to try lots of times, and the faster they fail the better, because it will save a lot of time and resources. So they have to just like try. To be honest, I think that entrepreneurial mindset, you can be born with that, but it's also something that you can teach yourself, because most of the time it's just about the like certain risks acceptance, the curiosity, and the like internal motivation to fix the specific problem, the gap that is on the market. And the motivation could be actually very different. We've seen among 150 founders that we have in the community that there is no like specific trait or like specific even mindset. But the founders can be extroverts, introverts, they could be tech savvy, they could be more like business oriented, they could have absolutely different cultural backgrounds. They could have traumas like that could motivate them to show everyone how big they can actually build a company. So the motivation could be very different, but it should be the specific energy that keeps moving them. For someone, it could be just like, okay, they're very oriented on like earning money. But to be honest, for them, venture capital is not the best field. Are there ways to earn money than that? Easier, I would say.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. So I also want to understand the funnel, right? So the funnel meaning approximately how many founders, pitch, and then how many do you talk to, and then how many do you select, or how many do you fund? Like, what's that funnel look like?
Yeah, to answer that question, I have to tell more about how our fund is organized.
Yeah.
So DVC fund is built on a community. So when me and my husband Nick, we are founders of that fund, but we actually been on both sides of the table. We've been founders ourselves. We built a computer vision company. We've been investors for different venture capital firms. So we know the industry from both sides. And when we were building our company, we realized that the most help we got was not from the very big venture capital firms. The biggest help that we got was from angel investors. They were the people who could come to our office at night and build, like even write code and worked on our brand and worked on our pitches and everything else. So when we started building DVC, we really wanted to build a company where always angel investors have an opportunity to invest and help. So DVC consists of more than 200 investors. Most of them are either tech founders or engineers from biggest tech corporations working with AI research or AI implementation. So they're very deep into the industries themselves, and they have this understanding of the technology of business implications. And we are also trying to get them engaged in the process as much as possible. So they are bringing not only investing money in the fund, they also bring in companies, they bring in deals they are looking, they're bringing tools they are using and they like. Most of our funnel are coming from the community, from our network. Imagine we have 200 LPs. I would say 60% of them are very engaged, bring in at least 3-5 deals per year. And these are very high quality deals. I'm not counting cold outreach. So we are looking at thousands and thousands of decks every year.
So thousands and thousands every year of pitches or
Yeah, of pitches of the companies that that already met the criteria that we have. So they already went through our LPs or through our network and came to us.
okay. And then what is the next? So you have thousands of thousands that have met the criteria. And
Mhm.
then what is the next step in that process look like?
So the next step is actually where our AI agents are started to work. So we built internal agents to walk through the deck to identify the main important things for it, and also enrich with signals outside. So we can see anything about the company, web traffic, hiring data, all signals that are important at that stage. Since we're investing early, the company itself can have like limited data, but there's still a lot of a lot of signals and data outside just the company that we can look at. So after this like initial screening, the company ended up in our pipeline. Then we usually have a community discussion. Everyone can join and give a feedback or use the technology if it's possible. Give a comment on that. So after the community discussion, after the partners discussion, usually we're trying to make a decision very fast. So save hours and founders' time, and just then go to the usual due diligence process and investing process.
Okay, so tell me more about this community discussion. Like, who is it with? How long is it? How much time do you spend just discussing, a company at this stage, that sort of thing?
It depends on the company. We always have asymmetric discussions as well. We also build a platform where all information available in real time to all our LPs, so they can look at it and leave their feedback and comment. We also organizing calls every week for all LPs, so they can just join.
Got it. And so I mean, I'm assuming not all 200 LPs join this call, but you get a handful of LPs who are interested in participating and providing feedback on these companies.
So yeah, usually 20% of our LPs are joining consistently.
Okay.
Probably another. So we also have like specific experts in the community with whom we can directly address our concerns or questions. So they're providing like direct feedback asymmetrically, not on the calls, but still available on the platform.
What are the questions that you hear them asking about, like often? What are they mostly curious about? Is it like founder relationship? What is the industry? Is it numbers around, or is it everything? What are you getting repeat questions about?
It's a mixed question. It depends on the company. It depends on the field because I would say we are industry agnostic in terms of like it should be AI startup, but it could be a health tech, it could be I don't know, like developer tools. It could be very different implementations of AI. So that's why we have very uh, our LPs are very diversified themselves as well. So I believe that both our world is very diverse, and we have to have diversity on every level. And in order to have diversity on every level, we have to have very diversified investment decision makers. So that's why we are bringing like lots of people to decision making process. And so that's why the range of questions could be very wide from distribution. So distribution, I think they all into technology. They understand technology very good. They could ask very deep, focused questions about like technology, how it's built, what's next steps for the technology. Distribution is always the question because like, well, it's hard to compete with the tech monsters. Of course, it's less questions about the founders because um, it's hard to get. So if they're asking about it, but it's hard to get without the call or meeting, in-person meeting. So that's mostly on partners who are involved in communication. Uh,
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think one of the things that I actually I'm sure this happens a lot, but I haven't heard that before where the LPs come together and give feedback and the kind of like double downing on diverse perspectives, which I think is a very smart thing to do. in big corporate America, this is called stakeholder management. And and you get a lot of different color of different, conversations and where people's thoughts go and managing those opinions, and most people are not going to agree. But I guess my question to you is, like, you have a lot of people giving you feedback or giving feedback on the company and asking questions. What happens when there's like a strong pull to a no and a strong pull to a yes? Are you looking for consensus? Are you looking for, like, how do we get this? Are we capable of helping this company get from A to B? What exactly are you looking for as an outcome from that discussion?
So we have sort of like set of red and green flags.
Hmm.
Uh, um, it's true people are different and they have a different risk profile. Venture capital, especially early stage, is still very risky. So sometimes it's mostly about having enough green flags to invest and not have a very like bright red flag. So anyway, we are just we have a weighted system in the mind when like sort of feedback. Okay, probably there is a question. There is no question about technology. I know the team is is brilliant. They built amazing technology. No questions there. Could be a question about distribution, but at the same time, uh, we have someone in the community who is could help with distribution. So we're trying to get the feedback, try to understand whether we can actually help with particular weaknesses, or we see that there is the red flag is so bright. For example, the founders are not hearing, for example, or like they are moving very slow. They are not adapting to the current conditions of the market fast enough. So for us, for example, it would be very red flag. So of course we are like community. Managing community is another like thing to do. It's not an easy job, but it's very exciting. and we, and we accept that like that's why we are building it. That's why we are ourselves not the smartest kids in the room, but we like to think about that like we are bringing lots of people to the fire to discuss startups and investment opportunities together and to find something very interesting.
Yeah. So tell me more about examples, if you
Uh-huh.
could, red flags and green flags that you've seen before.
Uh, yeah, for the I can tell you a story of one of the company that we invested in. Because on the paper it looked for us as a no-brainer. So it checked all marks in terms of like the team, the founder, the market, the technology. There was a flag which was not a red flag, but it was very concerning flag for me. It was about the founder motivation. He The previous company was grew very fast, but sort of like black swans on the market ruined it. So the founder took whole expertise and technology and the team to build another venture, which was very logical, like fit all of the trends. But I just felt that he was almost burned out and he was trying to put like logical use of what he learned from the previous experience, but he's not really into it. So we decided to steal because like venture capital is about like making risk decisions and bet like in a lot of startups. We're still invested in the company. And you know what? In 6 months, he was burned out and he switched to another thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which is, it's okay. It's very common. But It's also about like listening to like looking carefully into the flags that is during the conversations, because like consciously everything was fine. Um, all of our green flags were working, but there was one red flag that we decided not to notice.
Well, then when there's so many green flags, you don't want to notice the little tiny red ones that are might be popping through, right? So wait, what happened to that company? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, it was
Dissolved or?
yeah, it was went down.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's venture capital, right? I mean, you even get a few, right? And, what are the green flags that you notice, that you often notice?
So for us, it was like to fit on our DVC portrait that
Right.
I mentioned before, like this like mix of I don't know, previous startup warrior with engineering soul and curiosity to build from the first principles. Um, so understanding on like how like the understanding of go-to-market strategy and distribution, if it's already on like more product market fit stage, if not on like understanding on the market and technology. Funny thing is understanding that like everything you're building now could be changed
Right.
in
Yeah.
couple of months, because like sometimes we've seen a founder who is very sure about what he's building, but he's so sure that he cannot even accept the fact that it could be different in a couple of months.
Right. Exactly. And which I think is really interesting because we do so much like due diligence
Hmm.
and understanding, do they know the market? Are these the right founders? Is this the right team? Do they have a go to market strategy? And then everything changes. So I almost think like, is it a testament to how they work more than what it is that they're working on?
Yeah. But I have to say one more thing, like it is important to stick to big vision idea. It doesn't mean that like it's also a big problem when we see a founder who switches to one vision to another vision like every 6 months.
Mhm.
For example, I don't know, we have right now we are looking at the company we want to invest. They have a big vision to improve people's sleep scores, because they believe that if people sleep better, they will make better decisions and it will be better for the world. That's a big vision. And they see the chance that people are taking more care about the longevity, about their health metrics, about their sleeps, and other stuff. So making, they're betting on the field, and then they're building different products inside the field, like from the mattresses to other things. So the big vision idea is still there, but the realization of this big vision could be different, depends on what is going on in the market, how quickly hardware changes or AI software implements health data into the other things. So I believe that like the founders should be consistent with the big vision, but accept that the realization could change quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, again, and I know that I say this over and over again on my show, but adaptability seems to be
Hmm.
like a really key theme. And that's really at every level, not just like a founder level, you know, small, medium businesses, enterprises. I mean, especially in the world that we're living in today with so much change and a ridiculous amount of change, but being able to adapt is really important. But I liked what you said, which was, not changing your idea every 6 months. You really have to have that big idea or that big mission or vision that you're still trying to accomplish. It's just that you have to be adaptable along maybe the way that you get there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you
Yeah.
for putting this into this short sentence.
I mean, I try my best. I really do. Well, in light of that, how long does that selection process actually take from and I'm sure it's probably different for every company, but, what is that is it are you talking about a month? Are you talking about 6 months? How long does that take to actually select a new company?
Oh, for us, it's like maximum 1 week.
My goodness. So from pitch to fund, 1 week.
Yeah, yeah. So it could be even a couple of days because like we are most of the time we are competing on very so we're trying to invest in very competitive rounds,
Mhm.
and usually it's the decision have has to be made in days, not even in weeks.
Wow. So I'm glad I asked that question because I didn't know.
So we are investing from 10 to 15 companies every quarter.
Wow. Okay. And what is the size of the investment?
So we right now we have two funds under management under our umbrella. The first one is early stage rolling fund, and we invest 100K, 200K checks, initial checks per
Mhm,
company.
mhm.
And from another fund which invests on Series A, I would say Series B maximum. We invest 1 million, 3 million checks.
Yeah, okay, got it. So
So we are
early s
never leading. We are never leading. So that's why we are like most of them we are following or we are preempting the rounds. So
okay.
we are not the one who set the terms. That's why we are like competing, um, competing among other angels to be on the round most of the time.
I see. So when you are actually doing your selection, it's really coming from companies that already have a leading investor?
Sometimes they're not, but they are. And for us, it's actually one of the green flags. So if they have a lead investor,
Right.
that's a big green flag because what we are looking at, so the founder can actually fundraise, hire the best, and sell to the market. So these three things should click.
I see. I see. Okay. I also think that you have to also align on, your values as a venture capitalist, right? And what you're looking for, which is can be hard to do, making sure that all of those things fit, which we were talking about. But the other question I had, which is, what do you see most founders do with that, with their first round or second round? Like when they have their investment, what is their game plan? Like the general game plan, not the specific one, right? Like where are they going first? Are they spending it on ads? Are they spending it on building their team? Are they going to conferences? Like where is that money going?
Yeah, companies are very different, but there's specific market understanding what companies on different stages supposed to do. Like on the pre-seed, they're mostly raising to build like first MVP to test it, to test that the idea actually is that does make sense, and they can build it, and they actually attracts potential customers. For the next phase, they are trying to do the product market fit. So they already built something, and now they are trying to they find the target audience that actually can pay money. On the next stage, it's mostly about the growth. So they found product market fit. So it's only about scale, and that's the time when they can spend more money on advertising and other stuff. So it doesn't make any sense to spend a lot of money on advertising in the like preset stage. You are not
Right.
sure that you actually can build it, and you are not sure who are your target audience.
Right. Yeah. No, I think I love it. So, for those listeners who are just listening and not watching the video, there's a bunch of balloons in Marina's background that just went up, so it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, one of the things that I'm so curious to learn is, what do you spend money on for product market fit? And by that I mean, like usually, like when I think about product market fit, I'm thinking about, okay, I'm going and I'm talking to specific people with a specific background, and I'm asking them for feedback, or I'm asking them to even buy my product and see what that feedback looks like. And then every conversation will tweak me in a different direction to help me understand who my ICP is, which is my ideal customer. So what do you define as how you would spend money for product market fit?
It really depends on the product, and we are like both investing a lot in both in consumer and
Enterprise B2B?
yeah, B2B as well. So it could be very different strategies. And you know what? Like right now, with AI, it's getting like interesting. So we've seen a lot of companies who are getting like first million in IRR, just team of two, without spending like extra money on the team or extra money on like I don't know sales and other stuff. So you can automate a lot of processes, even like building a company from 0 to 1.
Mhm.
And actually, but there are other things that we have to take into account. We've seen lots of company who got this first million in the bank, but they're not recurring revenue. It's mostly like from pilot revenues because like more and more enterprises are experimenting with AI as well. So they're like curious to try the pilot. It doesn't mean that it's consistent recurrent revenue as well.
Right.
Not all of the founders understand that. I couldn't answer easily on that question. It really depends on like lots of things. I could say more and more companies that are spending less money on that by just automating lots of processes.
Mhm. Yeah. I wanna take a step back because
Mhm.
I've been drilling you, I know. But how when you think about the unicorns that you found, the teams or the pitches or the energy or whatever it is, what is it to you that you have kind of you've seen as a pattern or a common theme or a spark or a signal that they all have in common?
Well, for us, it's like two things. As I said, since they're repeat founders, we are very curious to walk with them through their past experience to see how they made decisions before. As an example, I know we have Team Westergren who built Pandora and who came through all ups and downs during the journey when like they almost died, like don't have enough money, they didn't pay salary, but still we're like sure about what they're building and actually built a great company. Going with him through the journey was very interesting. We have Conrad, who built Teachable, and it was not a unicorn, but I think they sold it for 250 millions, which was a success. And he started a new company right now, Kick. So we are going with him through his previous journey, trying to understand like, okay, what's next for him, why he decided to build again, why he's excited about this particular industry right now, how he actually assessing the previous journey, what lessons did he learn there. That's a lot of information just from talking to him to them
Mhm.
about that. And when I was talking about energy, I was talking a lot about like, does this particular founder has enough energy to move on, to raise funds, to sell, to attract customers, to attract investors. Yeah, because we've seen, especially like coming from Eastern Europe with a lot of great technical people, we see that they are amazing in building products, but they're so bad in selling. And sometimes it's a lot about this energy I'm talking about. It's not enough to be just to build. It's like a
Right.
lot of like things together.
Yeah. And do you ever see founders that are not builders that find right and like find engineers, or is it mostly, engineers led? I mean, kind of to what your thesis was, which is like builders, but like, do they do you find founders that are good pairs or
So that's just our focus because this is what we understand mostly. So
Mhm.
we understand like more like these engineer souls. It's not about like as I mentioned, it's not only about like building technology. It's about how they accessing the world. So they are looking at things and they're curious how it's built and how they can take it apart and build it better. So because our expertise and our network and our understanding lie a lot into the AI research network, I would say. So this is what we understand, and we are working mostly like most of our founders, either technical founders or like technical engineers.
okay. Yeah. I think that it's important to stay focused on what you know. I mean, you even as a founder yourself, that you have been, and turn investor, I think that you are staying with how you are successful as a founder by doing that, right? So that's really important. How do you get founders who have this engineering mindset to sell the product, to go into marketing and selling and maybe even be on a podcast, one day? What does that look like? What does that transformation look like?
Well, most of them have this model. They so don't like to sell products, so they build a product that sells themselves. Just anything, and they can automate in this process. They do. And they're building products that good that they not do not require selling. We have a founder whose selling process was so bad. So the product was sold in despite of all his efforts to actually ruin the process. And when we asked him how are you doing this, he said like I don't know. They just all these like inbounds. I don't do anything. They're just calling me to like asking me for the product.
Oh my goodness. So people are just calling him for the product and he's like not answering or what?
He's not like he said like he's not building anything specific to fit it. It's just like he's working with in all inbounds, which is actually for us was also a red flag because it's okay for the like first like product market fit stage, but for scaling, if you want to build really big company, you still have to build the sale process. You
Yeah.
have to work with your clients. You have to understand their needs, and you have to talk to them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. You have to. I mean, I don't know any other way. I mean, that's the way that I approach. But I mean, I know my husband's an engineer and he's like this. He can build something and like the product would sell itself. Okay, so last question, and I think I mean we've really dug deep into this episode on this topic. So I appreciate everything that you've shared so far. I think the last question I have is around like the future of AI leadership. You are essentially selecting the leaders of our future.
Hmm.
AI is going to be everywhere. If it's not everywhere already, it will be very soon. How do you think about, that responsibility? How you think about what the future might hold? Like what are your thoughts on basically being a participant in selecting our future leaders?
You're absolutely right, but it's not about like AI itself being a problem. It's about how people with AI are working. So what are they bringing to the table? What are they feeding into the foundational models? What they are prompting, what they're asking? I think that the venture capital is playing a great role in it. Nowadays, we already can automate a lot of things with AI in our decision-making process. And AI is much better in sourcing the data to in analyzing, in like creating investment memorandums and making I don't want to say decisions, but making like summaries and conclusions and other stuff. But decisions are still on people, and people are making decisions using these scores. They're also making decisions on investing not in the companies, but most of the time investing in people as well. In venture capital, an early stage is very important because it's at that stage there's almost nothing but people. That's why I we live in DVC. We believe that the world should be very diverse. It's already it's diverse, but in terms of venture capital, the venture capital was not diverse at all. So that's why we believe that venture capital should be more diverse than it's now. More and more people have to make decisions on in venture capital because it's boost entrepreneurship, it's boost new products, it's boost technology in certain trends. So we want more people to join the conversation about investments and in AI and making investments not only in, as I mentioned, not in startups but also in people. We are actually very proud that in spite of our like small niche, that most of our LPs are engineers and tech founders. They are very diverse. They are from different countries. We have lots of women. I think we have 30% of our portfolio had at least one female founder in the company. For repeat founders in AI, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So we are paying a lot of attention to that. We are paying a lot of attention to motivation, the big visions of the founders. We're always asking like, what is the big picture? What they want to solve eventually. We have our set of values. Like for example, we are not invest in anything like I don't know, alcohol or gambling or even defense.
Mhm.
So we believe that venture capital can bring a lot of value, especially in early stage, if people are involved in decision making into humans.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think that having those different perspectives really make decisions much better and stronger. I think in my time, I have witnessed, unfortunately, a lot of groupthink and, cultures that are just move to make decisions out of fear,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really heartbreaking to see, honestly. But I think that the way that you have set this up, set up the fund, and the way that you guys make decisions, being able to hear and identify all the different things that you would have never really understood by yourself. I think that that is just a genius way to approach it. And I'm very excited to hear about your next unicorn. So,
Yeah,
so yeah.
I think maybe one more thing I would add into is that I believe that we as society evolve not isolated. We evolve in tribes, group in communities. We survive because we have each other. We survive because we can sit around the fire, share food, share stories. Loneliness is a problem. Most of the founders feel lonely because of specific of their journey, because they have to always wear a mask to I know to protect confidence and success to all the stakeholders. That's why it's so important to have people around founders whom they can trust and with whom they can be without their mask, with honest. Because when we have each other, when they can feel um, in this like constantly changing world, with whom they can feel safe, they can actually make better decisions and look into the future without fear, but without like this more confidence because like we have each other. That's why we are building community, and I hope like it doesn't necessarily supposed to be like VC community, but people need people. I wish everyone have a tribe around them to to be grounded and to feel this human touch and to make better decisions.
We'll leave it to a female VC to tell the truth, right? Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, thank you so much for hosting me.
Visit us at leaderbook.ai. Your support as a subscriber means the world to us. So thank you for tuning in. I'm Felicia Shakiba. Let's connect on LinkedIn.